A very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is 27 November 2025, Thursday. So we'll be continuing our sharing from this Heart Sutra, second edition. And we are at page 184. Okay. So as usual, we will have our physical puja. 南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无弥勒佛。南无弥勒佛，南无弥勒佛，南无药师佛，南无药师佛，南无药师佛，南无普贤菩萨，南无普贤菩萨，南无文殊菩萨，南无文殊菩萨，南无准提菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨。阿拉汉萨玛萨姆多巴嘎瓦，布当巴嘎วัน当阿比瓦德米。Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Surameraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Buddhang Pujami. Dhammang Pujami. Sanghang Pujami. Awareness-based meditation is very useful. You can develop the inner awareness, stabilize it, then you will realize your true mind. Your true mind can only arise when your thought ceases. And that understanding is very important. That's why I prefer to teach you the four support to develop awareness-based meditation. Remember to learn how to relax both body and mind so that the thought doesn't arise to create more thinking, confusion. The world is the world. Condition like that, things feel like that. No need to think. We just have to have the clarity of mind to accept the reality of what is. Whatever arises, there are causes and conditions behind. So develop the ability to accept that reality. Then completely silence your mind to be at peace. Then awareness-based meditation will develop. Then whatever concerning life that we need to attend to or worry about, we only develop the necessary understanding of it. With acceptance, your mind has clarity, understanding. And without this clarity, there is no understanding. That's why acceptance leads to peace. When your mind is at peace, it is calm, peaceful, and it can see things clearly. Then we reflect, contemplate what happened. Then we decide how we want to overcome all this amicably so that nobody gets hurt. So we have to fall back to the teaching, which is basically Noble Eightfold Path. Having right thought leading to right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And also right action. Okay, now I'd like you meditate on your own. Relax body and mind. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. Maintain awareness. Whatever arises, aware, finish. Then let the mind settle down. Let it return to its original state before the thinking, before the stirring, the reaction to sense experience. By doing that, it will stabilize the awareness. Then once the awareness is stabilized, that is the beginning of meditation. Meditative mind will arise. Then when that silent mind, which is our pure awareness nature, the meditative mind arises, then we can use it to develop wisdom, to insight into phenomena, to see things as they are, and to understand all this cause of suffering, all this movement of thought and sankhara. And for those who know how to develop the stability of it, you can go to the fourth support, which is trust. You just silence everything, stay at the heart, and allow the mind to move on its own. The pure awareness nature will detect whatever it can detect. If there is any vibration or heart activity, which we call it the heartbeat, just stay with it and allow that nature to be aware. Just aware. The silent mind developing the awareness. Then this one can move. Just let it move until it detects the gateway to your nature. Okay, with that I will set the alarm for 30 minutes. Then you can continue with your awareness-based meditation. Okay, you all can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Then now your turn to page 6 of the chanting book. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe in their entirety, let the deities and Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakamokadang Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti Peso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati Satta Deva Manusahanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanayiko Pachyatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipano Bhagavato Saukasangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Saukasangho Yayapatipanno Bhagavato Saukasangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Saukasangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yukani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Saukasangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaneyo Anuttarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, so now we'll continue from where we stopped, page 184, I think second paragraph. This part is concerning wisdom. Wisdom cannot be learned or taught. There is not a rigid knowledge. So understanding this part is very important, because wisdom is an insight. You have to awaken to it. You have to realize it. And to awaken, you have to be with your true mind, which is your silent mind, pure awareness nature without thought. That's why that mind can see things as they are, the direct seeing, direct knowledge and vision of what is the reality. Jnana Dasana. So when it can see things as they are, it develops the understanding, the wisdom. Then that penetrative flash of understanding can awaken the cultivator of the way. That's why it's not a knowledge born of memory, born of thought, but it's an understanding born of insight, awakening. Yeah. That's why I say wisdom cannot be learned or taught. You cannot learn through the thought process to develop wisdom. You have to awaken to it. To awaken to it, there are three ways where the meditative wisdom can arise. The first turning wisdom, second turning wisdom, and finally the third turning wisdom, which is meditative. You need to awaken through the bhavana practices, or what we call the meditative approach. So, bhavana is a Pali word. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So when it comes to Samadhi and Panya, there is bhavana. That's why Dana, Sila, Bhavana. That bhavana is actually Samadhi and Panya together. So this type of wisdom, you must have Samadhi leading to wisdom. Without Samadhi, which is the collected mind, free mind, that is collected and unwavering, without a conditioned state, that mind can insight into phenomena. That's why you cannot try to learn wisdom. You have to contemplate, reflect, until you realize the awakening will arise. Then you have to listen attentively. Attentively means the mind is in sati, awareness. Then it will trigger. It's also not true memory. When it connects, it develops the understanding, it triggers. That's why I said, wisdom, if you understand, cannot be learned or taught. I cannot teach you wisdom. I can teach you the Dhamma. But you have to contemplate, reflect, and develop the understanding on your own. Like the Buddha said, he can only show you the way. He cannot give you wisdom. If he can give you wisdom or teach you to become wise, then he would have given it to you, because he is so compassionate, full of love and compassion. But since wisdom cannot be learned and taught, so you have to practice or cultivate the understanding on your own. So the next part which I say, the reason being is not a rigid knowledge, not something that you can commit to memory through the mind, or what they call the mundane thinking, the mundane activity. So this one, all the accumulated knowledge or memory, is not wisdom. These are what we call mental knowledge or Dhamma knowledge, born of mental thinking or reasoning or analysis. It's just like when we try to solve a scientific problem. We try to develop a rational understanding. The word is rational, using thought. Then you think. That's why a lot of people get it wrong. When you go to school, when you cannot understand a problem or a question, the teacher will normally tell you, go back and think about it. Means reflect, contemplate into it. But thinking cannot give rise to wisdom. It can give rise to knowledge, yes. Certain type of technical understanding. But I don't call that wisdom. Where the understanding is actually quite rigid. And it is like rigid in the sense that it's very established scientifically. But it's not a ultimate truth. It's just a rational, conventional truth. So understanding that, then we will know how to develop it. That's why the next line is very important. Wisdom needs to be awakened to or realized, because it is an overall understanding It's not through memory, not through knowledge. Dhamma cultivation is about a realization. And it can only be understood by the wise, each for themselves. That's why in the salutation to the Dhamma, the Buddha explained very clearly, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Well expounded is this Dhamma by the Buddha. Then what are the characteristics of this Dhamma? This Dhamma is sanditiko, can be realized in the here and the now. You don't have to wait till you die to realize it. Then this Dhamma is akaliko, timeless, beyond thought, beyond time, beyond the psychological time, which is thinking. Then after that, it is ehipasiko, where is the truth. It can stand up to investigation. That's why you are invited to come and investigate. But it's the truth. It will stand up to investigation. Then after that is, once you can develop the sanditiko, akaliko, ehipasiko, then this Dhamma is opanayiko, leading inward to the heart. Then it is pacetang, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. So, pacetang veditabbo vinuhiti is a very important statement. That's why I said it can only be realized and understood by the wise, each for themselves. No one else can understand it for you. At different level, wisdom is realized differently. If you can understand the deep meaning behind the famous Surangama Sutta saying, perception of form is consciousness, whereas its non-perception is wisdom, means you have developed the direct seeing. So here, what is perception? Perception is an aggregate of mind, sanya. Sanya is the ability of the mind to perceive through our senses. That's why we have our six sense bases. Then we have our sense data that impinge upon this respective six sense bases. Then upon contact, consciousness manifests. Then when it manifests, the mundane mind input the content of consciousness. And within this content of consciousness, there are 7 universal concomitants within the mind, or we call it mind states. Sankara, mind state. And this mind state, the most powerful one is perception. That is always the first one to come in. Then when perception arises, the mundane mind with its knowledge, memory, views, opinion, conditioning and belief system will, based on that perception, develop the movement. I call it the stirring of the mind, the habitual tendency, the reaction. All this movement, if you don't have mindfulness, you cannot see them. And when you cannot see them, you cannot develop the understanding of it. That's why wisdom cannot arise. So that part is very important. So understanding that, then we will know. Perception of form is consciousness means mundane seeing, mundane perception. When you see things through the mundane activity of senses manifestation, then we will perceive according to the individual's memory, or what we call accumulated views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, including everything that they carry. Can be their phobia, insecurity, their whatever knowledge or intellect. So all these are inside their memory. So perception of form with that memory is consciousness and its content, means the mundane seeing. Whereas its non-perception is wisdom, means the direct seeing. Seeing things as they are, where the perception is pure, no word, nothing. That's why the silent mind, the pure awareness nature, which is the true mind, can see things as they are, only that mind. Whereas the other one is the thinking mind, dependent originating mind, conditioned arising mind, causal phenomena. And that one we call it the mundane mind, the mundane thinking, with the mundane knowledge and accumulated memories, views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, etc. So that one can perceive a lot of things in accordance with the individual's views, opinion, conditioning, and accumulated memory and belief system. There's a bundle of memory that is already conditioned. Then from there, it perceives. That's why everyone perceives differently. This results in wrong perception, mundane perception. So if you see through mundane activity and perception, then it is consciousness with its content. Then if you have developed the training of the mind to be aware, then that one can give rise to direct seeing. The direct seeing by the pure mind, the true mind, the pure awareness nature is without word, without memory and knowledge, nothing. That one see things as they are. Everyone see the same thing. There is no such thing as difference of opinion or what. But that is the reality. That is the manifestation, pure. That's why we call it the pure perception of the true mind, without its content. And that type of perception, when it can see things as they are, it develops the understanding, the insight, the awakening. That's why I put here, whereas its non-perception is wisdom. Then you will have some form of wisdom born of understanding the mind Dhamma. For everything is condition arising, and mind make a day. So not so real. It is only the mundane mind that creates the phenomenal world of consciousness through its own mental perception and sankhara activity that input the content and bring forth the resulting consciousness, like the following Zen saying. Yeah. So this is the three types of seeing, which is normally taught in the Mahayana tradition. It is a very famous teaching or proverb that they constantly use. The first level of seeing is kan san, si san, or in English, mundane seeing, which means mountain are just mountain. So the Mandarin version is more like, brings out the meaning more. Kan san, si san, when you look at the so-called mountain through the conventional understanding of mundane seeing, then you see mountain as mountain through knowledge, through concept, mundane convention. So first you see mountain as mountain. This is conventional, or we call it mundane seeing. Then when you cultivate, develop the stability of inner awareness, the ability to silence your mind. When your mundane thinking all cease, then your true mind, which is the primordial silent mind, pure awareness nature, shine forth. actually is there all the time, where it's not clouded by mundane thinking. That pure awareness nature is not connected to the memory. It has no word, no duality, no knowledge, nothing. The pure seeing, seeing things as they are, the direct seeing. And that one, that type of seeing, which is direct seeing, is without the word. Then you see mountain as not mountain, kan san, pusa san, because the pure awareness nature see the direct seeing, via the direct seeing, the reality which is as it is, without word, without description. That's why it's beyond thought, beyond mind. So this is seeing with the above Surangama saying, understanding. Kan san, se san. Then according to the Surangama Sutta stanza, perception of form is, you can change to mundane seeing. Although they use the word consciousness. Whereas its non-perception is wisdom. That is born of the direct seeing. So with this, you can develop the understanding better. Then finally, suchness seeing. Kan san, yu se san, means you come back to the reality within the world, existential world, within life itself. Means you go back to suchness seeing. No matter what, whoever come to you, whether it's a mundane, worldly Puthujjana or an enlightened being, whatever convention they use, you will accord and flow and say, yeah, there is a mountain. And the wise one comes, you say, yeah, there is not a mountain. Means you can accord and flow without contradiction. Because after you become normal, suchness seeing, you can accord and flow with the worldly condition or convention. So you can see mountain as mountain again, not a problem. You will not argue with people anymore. No right, no wrong anymore. Where that is the way things are. The world is the world. People is just the way it is. So this final seeing is called suchness seeing, where you see mountain still as mountain again. Means you go back to normality. As an enlightened being, you can fit in to life, to society. You can become a normal person again, where you have the understanding of both, the mundane seeing and the suchness, direct seeing. And also finally, you can come to terms with the reality within existence to develop the suchness seeing. So this is what we call seeing things as they are, suchness seeing, with understanding that everything is suchness, or what is. The Buddha called it tattva. Means you are able to accept things as they are, hence able to accommodate both the conventional and the ultimate realities, to live life with wisdom and understanding. Then there is 1.3, where we have the Zen analogy. This one is quite interesting. So this one is about the 6 Patriarch Platform Sutta. Is extracted from there. So after the 6th Patriarch, after he has received the transmission from the 5th Patriarch, which is Hongren, Venerable Hongren, he was advised to leave the temple and go south. That's why he left. Then, of course, according to the sutta, there was a commotion because they realized that the transmission of the patriarchship has taken place, and it was given to Huineng, who is very new and have no seniority in the temple, not even accepted as a full-fledged monk to develop the training and the understanding in the main hall. He was sent to the kitchen. Whereas the chief disciple of Hongren, the fifth patriarch, Shen Xiu, he is the most senior and most popular, and everybody thought it should be rightly transmitted to him. When he wrote that poem, they thought he should be the one. But later on, when Huineng came to know about the first poem that Shen Xiu came out with, he realized that poem lacked depth and understanding of the true mind. So he went and asked somebody to help him to write. He said, I also have a poem. Then he wrote his famous Six Patriarch poem to completely tear apart Shen Xiu's poem. And because of that, later on when the news spread that the fifth patriarch's transmission of the patriarchship, which is symbolized by the bowl and the rope insignia, has already been transmitted. There was a great commotion, and a lot of the monks cannot agree to what happened. So on their own, they try to chase after Huineng and get back the bowl and the rope or the insignia so that Shen Xiu can have it. But then the story went on. But he finally escaped and landed himself in a few places. And finally he was with the hunters. He hid within the hunters community, and from there for 15 or 16 years, I think 16 years he was with them. Then the fifth patriarch actually hinted to Huineng. He said, you must not be too eager to teach and share. Wait for causes and conditions to arise. Otherwise, it is very dangerous for you. And the fifth patriarch, being very wise, he knew about the possibility of what happened and the dissatisfaction of the student and disciples and all these things. So what happened was, he followed the advice and waited for causes and conditions. Then when it's time for him to arise, the sign will come. Then when she saw the sign, he knew that it was the time to leave. So after he did the last thing for the hunter and the villager, then he left. And when he left, the first place he go is Nan Hua Si, I think, if I'm not wrong, the monastery where he got ordained. So it was this monastery that he came. So when he was there, he realized there was two monks. That's how this Zen story come about. Were arguing about the temple flag waving in the wind. One of the monks said, the flag moves. Then the other countered and said, no, the wind moved. So they argued back and forth, but could not agree. Then finally, Huineng, the sixth patriarch, said, gentlemen, it's not the flag that moves. It's not the wind that moves. It's your mind that moves. So this one is very beautiful, because this one is somebody who has the understanding. Then the two monks were struck with awe. They were very surprised. This is because Huineng knew that these monks are still new. They still have form delusion. So he prompted and hinted to them to see the next level, which is the mind Dhamma. So here I put to refer to earlier Heart Sutra note for detailed explanation of this Zen analogy. Is actually in the earlier sharing of the Heart Sutra, I have given a more complete explanation. Because this part is not easy for people to develop the understanding. So now I ask you a question. Okay? When the two monks were arguing, say, the flag moved. Then the other one say, no, the wind moved. So what type of seeing is this? Huh? What type of seeing is this? It's mundane seeing, understand? Because it's the mundane mind perceiving. And when you perceive differently, you have different understanding. That's why the argument arises. And one say, the flag move, which is very logical, isn't it? Based on conventional truth. Yeah, you can see the flag move. But the other one is using knowledge. No, he said, the wind. Without the wind, the flag cannot move. So who is right, who is wrong? Both are mundane seeing. So it's not about right and wrong. This is getting trapped at the form level. Where form still has a lot of meaning to them. The flag and the wind are form Dhamma. They are not mind Dhamma. Means they use the mundane perception through form Dhamma to perceive whatever phenomena that arise. The mundane external form. That's why they perceive that. So when you perceive that, then you cannot develop the real wisdom and understanding. Yeah, these are mundane perception, mundane seeing. So perception of form through the mundane seeing is just the mundane consciousness arising. So Huineng, been enlightened, he has gone beyond mind. He has realized the true mind, the unconditioned, the silent mind. But why did he lead them to the mind Dhamma? Because you cannot just take them from one extreme to the third extreme. They haven't even break free from the form Dhamma. That's why he said, your mind move. Mind Dhamma is the second stage. When you cannot see form, you cannot see mind, understand not? When you can see form, then you can develop the understanding to slowly see mind. That's why the mundane seeing is actually from the mind. That's why the Buddha used the word, mind make ade. Mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. When mind arises, all things arise. So from form Dhamma, he wants to hint to them to come back to the mind Dhamma. So when it come back to the mind, then he realize the mind perceive. That is mundane seeing. Then he used this word, your mind move. Then only they can develop the cultivation and investigate into the mind. Means they reflect, they contemplate, then they develop the inquiry. Then finally they realize, yeah, without mind, all this perception cannot arise. And it is the mind that creates the so-called movement, whether the flag move or the wind move. Then the abbot of the temple, Nanhua Si, I think, happened to be there. Then he knew this person must be special. So he asked, Are you from that fifth patriarch temple that left and finally you arise and come to this temple? Because for a person to have such understanding, especially a lay person, he is not simple. 不简单 in Mandarin. Then Huining quickly made use of the opportunity and confirmed that yes, he was the I don't know how to call him. He was the I don't think he was called a monk at that time. He was a kitchen helper. But he confirmed that he was the one that actually left the fifth patriarch's way place and was transmitted the teaching and the Dhamma. Then the abbot was very happy. He said, "Can you show us the robe and the bowl, the insignia, to confirm it?" Then he took it up. And that's how he started. The beginning of Huining's coming out to teach, to share, and to make known himself to the world at that time. Then the abbot was very, very happy. That's why he immediately invited Huining to come in and asked him to share his understanding. Then after that, Huining requested to be ordained. And that's where he got himself ordained. And this is the temple that he actually went to and take his ordination, the higher ordination, to become a true monk, a full-fledged monk. Yes, at the fifth patriarch's way place, he was not really ordained formally. Then he received his precepts, everything. Then he went through the whole, what they call ceremony. So this is how this Zen analogy arises, and he became very famous after that. Then the next part of the Zen analogy, we go to the notes. It's also very interesting. This one is something that I've shared with you all before recently. When Brother T.K. Chan, the Singapore Kayamita, the mother, passed away recently. So this is the one I sent forward to him, and I also wrote to my Kayamita. How the Bodhisattva, during the early days, there is a Jataka story that also relates about the son at that life, how he passed away because of the python. I think he did something, then the python came out and just killed him. Then what happened was, during this incident, the Bodhisattva's son died. Even when he died, there was no crying, no sorrow, no lamentation. Why? Because the Buddha knew, and this is the statement that the Buddha recited. He actually told the king at that time, who happened to be nearby, and asked him. He told the king, "This is a very good son, fellow piety." Then the king asked, "Then why don't you cry? Why are you not sorrowful, lamenting?" Then the Buddha proclaimed this statement. The Bodhisattva at that time proclaimed this statement. He said, "Whatever there is of the nature to arise is also of the nature to cease." So this statement is very powerful. Everything is dependent, originating, condition, arising, cause of phenomena. Then he add on, And what has been born has already ceased to be. So no amount of sorrow and lamentation can bring back the dead. This is real wisdom, profound wisdom. That's why when you have this understanding, you need not lament. You need not develop the unnecessary sorrow and lamentation. You accept the reality of what is, what happened. So I add on this last paragraph, I say, we have been born so many times. Like limitless birth and death over long period of eons and eons of birth and death. Samsara, arising and passing away. Which one of the many eons of segmented life of birth and death is you? Then you realize all this segmented life, maybe billions of it, none of them are you. But you cannot deny that through the karmic law, samsara, you have been born into all this so-called rhyme of existence, or what we call as living beings. Sometimes as human beings, sometimes maybe as animals, as whatever, Devas, Brahmas, then the hell beings, even demons, or animals, or hell beings, and also Peta, hungry ghost rhyme, all those things. But which one is you? None of them are you. But you cannot deny that you have taken this type of birth before. Then you start to reflect, contemplate, and develop the understanding that all this, although not you, but they are related to you, your nature, your karmic nature, karmically. They are the various segments of your karmic conditioning that give rise to their birth. And every segment of this life, you have your moment to moment of existence with the karmic conditioning, mental intention that manifests as karmic. So the summation of all this moment to moment of karmic arising and passing away constitute the karmic nature. That's why the Buddha said we are all born our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. So through all this understanding, then you will come to know that all this segmented life, they arise because of this law of karma. And this law of karma is very interesting, because without this law of karma, living being cannot arise in this existential world. To come to this existential world, like I always explain, you must have a form in mind. Karmically conditioned up means this one is a vehicle and a tool for you to arise. And this one is not a permanent, unchanging entity. This one is dependent originating, condition arising phenomena. That's why the form and mind is a phenomena, condition arising, dependent originating. So when you meditate, when you develop the mindfulness and awareness, then you can see clearly, like how the Buddha explained it in the teaching. He called that form and mind, the five aggregates of form and mind. There are two aspects. First aspect is as a human being or a living being. For our case, we are born human, it's called human being. Otherwise, you are a living being. Then the second aspect is the mundane mind has four aggregates of mind: feeling, perception, sankhara or activity of mind, and consciousness. These are the four mind states. Then how did the external form enter the mind? Through mental perception, like I explained just now, through your senses, your memory. So this sanya or perception aggregate can perceive external form. And this is how it brings the external form in the mind. So this mental form, together with the four aggregate of mind, which is Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, forms the five aggregate. So the Rupang, in the first aspect, is the physical body. The second aspect is the external form. This external form is also a Rupa. So together with the four mental aggregate, they also manifest as a five aggregate, but this is mental five aggregate, like our human body and mind. That is the first aspect. But the second aspect is the thought itself. When the consciousness with the content of consciousness input, it triggers off the thought. And this thought is the five aggregate of form and mind, mental five aggregates. Pure consciousness with its content, it becomes the mental five aggregate, which is the thought, which is the mundane thinking. So this part is very powerful. He said, Rupang anicang, Rupang anatta. Form is impermanent. Form is not a permanent, unchanging entity. You cannot cling onto it, grasp onto it, hold onto it and say, this is me, this is I. Where it goes the way of nature. It comes and it goes. It is not a permanent, unchanging entity. Then he continued with the other aggregate. He said, Vedana anicang, Vedana anatta. That's why in our morning chanting, we always recite this. And he continued, after Vedana, Sanya anicang, Sanya anatta. Then Sankhara anicang, Sankhara anatta. Then Vijnana anicang, Vijnana anatta. What he's trying to tell you is, feeling is impermanent, is dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena. So for feeling, we know. Feeling arise and pass away, but we didn't die. It depended on condition. Sometimes pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. And this feeling comes with contact. Upon contact, feeling arises. And these feelings stir when you input the content of consciousness based on your views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. And this is how feeling, condition, craving of like and dislike, pleasant and unpleasant sense experience. So when this manifests, then you come to know that if feeling is me, then when feeling changes or transforms, I should die with it, isn't it? But how come you didn't die? So feeling is not you. It's not a permanent, unchanging entity that you can cling on to and say, this is me, this is I. Therefore all this can be mine. You cannot own feeling. You cannot own perception. You cannot own sankhara. You cannot own vijnana. They are dependent originating mind state. So the five aggregate of form and mind, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, they have these universal characteristics of anicca because they are dependent originating. If you want things your way, you suffer. If you attach and cling on to pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, you want to reject it, and when you cannot get what you want, you suffer. Well, things is just the way it is. They go the way of nature. They follow the pancha niyamas movement. Condition like that, things will like that. It cannot be otherwise. So, develop the understanding of this. See it clearly. Then awaken to it. And when you awaken to it, then you realize what the Buddha is trying to teachers is very profound. That's why he said, if you want things your way, which is not nature's condition, born of nature's condition or nature's way, then you suffer based on the first noble truth reality. When you cannot get what you want, you suffer. What you want is a craving, not in accordance with nature's condition. That's why the universal characteristics of suffering will arise. When you see anicca, you see dukkha. Dukkha is suffering. Then when you see anicca, you also see anatta. Anatta is not only non-self. That is the literal translation. Non-self is only a small part of anatta. In fact, anatta is very profound. Anatta means it is in between atta and attaniya. Atta is permanent unchanging entity, self, where you can have complete control. And you can decide what you want to do with that thing. Whereas attaniya is no self, no such thing. You cannot have such thing. The two extreme. Then in between is anatta. The Buddha said, this form and mind, the five aggregate, may be, for our case, a human being or any living being. Even though it's not a permanent unchanging entity, but there is such a thing as a human being. And this one is not a permanent unchanging entity. That's why don't be deceived, he said. Don't be deluded. Don't go and believe and think that this is me, this is I, therefore all this can be mine. He said this is karmically conditional. Dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena. Mind make our day. Not a permanent unchanging entity. That's why he said if you cling onto it, grasp onto it, there is sakayaditi. Believing that this five aggregate of form and mind is real, is what you are. That's how you get yourself entangled. When you think this body belongs to you, you worry about you getting old, getting sick and die. And when you believe these aggregates of mind is you, means you always have this wrong view of saying, I still have anger. I still have envy and jealousy. I still have fear. You think as a cultivator, after you develop understanding, you can become enlightened. Then all this, no more. But then when they arise, because you have not rooted them out through wisdom, then you say, after so many years of cultivation, I still have anger. I still have fear, worry, anxiety. Means you believe you have not practiced correctly, cultivate correctly. No, that cultivation has delusion. Because fear was never you, anger was never you. All this dependent originating mind state was never you. It's born of wrong view, wrong understanding that condition your mind to react and stir and become emotional. Then when you see this with the mindfulness within, you realize your true mind has none of all this. They are not intrinsic within your true mind. Mind make a day. That's why the Buddha in the Satipatthana Sutta, under the last foundation, the fourth foundation of mindfulness, Dhammanupassana, where he teach the monks to develop mindfulness of the five aggregates of form and mind. He said, with mindfulness, you can develop the understanding. Then you will come to know how these five mental hindrances arise and pass away. He said, through mindfulness, you will see the five mental hindrances. First two, sensual desire and ill will. Then sloth and torpor. Then you have what they call restlessness of mind. Then you have doubt. So when sensual desire and ill will arise, these are most common. Where the first two are based on greed and hatred, the two evil roots. So whenever you stir your mind, the like and dislike, the pleasant and unpleasant, create mental hindrance. So you are mindful, you are aware, you will see them arising upon perception. The moment you perceive through your seeing consciousness, hearing, smell, taste, tactile or thought consciousness, why did you react and stir? That is the silent mind observing, seeing, then developing the understanding. Then he said you will come to understand how fear arises. Means the unarisen mental hindrance of fear leading to restlessness of mind arise. How the sensual desire and ill will arise. How sloth and torpor arise. How doubt arise. Then he said you continue to silence your mind, develop the mindfulness. Then you will come to know you don't do anything. The mind returns to its original state before the stirring. Means the pure awareness nature, the true mind. And that one is tranquility, stillness. No thought, nothing, no duality. Then you realize, by not doing anything, by maintaining awareness, it ceases to be. Means, these mind states, the aggregates of mind and the five mental hindrances, they are not intrinsic within your true mind, your nature. They are dependent originating mind state, and they are not you. They come and they go. And yet you didn't die. That's why this understanding is very profound. So through this, you can actually become enlightened. You can break sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. It is not me, like the Buddha realized under the Bodhi tree. Then why should I worry about it arising and passing away? Like the physical body, it goes the way of nature. I don't have to worry about it getting old, getting sick and die. That's why his problem resolved. His problem arising from what he saw, the foresight before he left the palace, got answered. So to him, old age, sickness and death is no more issue. Where that pertains to the physical body, not him. That's why that understanding is very profound. Trigger of the awakening. And that is how he severed the fetter of sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. And that fetter is very important. Without severing that fetter, you cannot become a first stage of sainthood, sotapanaship. You cannot realize sotapanaship. That's why that particular awakening is wisdom. So through mindfulness, you can develop all this understanding. Then you can penetrate the Dhamma. So the five aggregate, like the Buddha said, is not only impermanent. If you attach and cling onto it, you suffer. And because it is impermanent, you will see clearly the anatta nature, non-self nature, not a permanent and changing entity. Which means what? Which means everything that arises and passes away is dependent originating. That's why the law of mind, paticca samuppada, become very clear and very important. And that is how you function as a human being, how you manifest as a human being, the mental aspect. And through this understanding, then you understand all the teaching very clearly. That's why you understand why the Buddha said, mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. Mind make our day. When mind arises, all things arise. So all this understanding will fall into place. Then you will know you have two minds. The true mind and the mundane thinking mind. The mundane stirring and activity of the mano, or what we call the mundane mind. So this part can actually give rise to profound wisdom. So all this sharing is now a lot clearer, I hope, and it can help you all develop more deep understanding and profound wisdom. Okay, I think I have to end. We keep the third part for the next sharing. Okay, now we come back to the second session, which is meditation reporting, followed by whatever Q&A, and Dhamma session reporting. I think the Chihuahua reporting, we almost finished. One more to go, Alicia. Sister Alicia, you want to come in?
Good evening, Brother Mrs. Tew.
Yeah.
Okay. Brother Tew, actually, 我其实昨天还在想，我到底要分享什么嘞？
你是最后的，你是最多东西 share 的 ，then can summarize on behalf of the group.
Yes.
That's right.
Brother Tew, 我首先我要感恩三宝。
Yeah.
感恩
That one very important.
还有感恩 Brother Tew。我的家人，还有所有的凯拉米达，
sadhu，
还有所有的助缘，就是帮助我们成就我们，这一次九华山的朝拜团。
sadhu。
因为很多东西我们以为很容易的就解决，其实不然太在这里让我学习到很多那个。因缘法就是
你需要很多因缘法 to make it happen the way it's supposed to happen. That's why all these are born of Dhamma understanding. You don't have the Dhamma understanding, 你做不到的。You cannot get all this flowing and moving because it demands a lot of understanding to bring about harmony, understanding, voluntary help and all those. And all these people, they will know how to develop the appropriate wholesomeness and support to bring about the Dhamma flow that can actually transform into very beautiful causes and conditions for a lot of you all to develop the faith and the progress and the joy, of course. The joy is very important. Yeah, you continue.
Yeah. 在我还没有finalize 我们的这个团之前，我所做的 trip planning 其实不是这样走的，但是因为很多的这种因素，导致于我把这个行程改了又改，改了又改。
对，
在里面，我不是想说这个我有做了多少的功。而是我要让大家明白到，要随顺那个因缘的去把东西做好，这样子罢了。因为真的看似很简单，但是我回来之后，我再 reflect 回去，其实不然看起来很像很简单，但是它里面很多的因缘法在里面，
对，
才能够成就的所有的一切 ，brother。就是这个我讲，还有就是我还要感恩 brother Song 的。带领我们这一次的这个所谓的这个，就是我在他身上学习到很多，
是咯，
还有那种chord and flow 啊，就是然后感恩曼渊帮我做那个付那个我们吃饭的钱，还有帮我去买票啊，是我们把这个工作分出去，大家分担。然后大家就很轻松的去把这个东西好，还有就是还要感恩都是凯尔米达啊 ，Mrs. Tew 啊，他们给我们的那种帮助，就是给我们去 donation 啊，还有这些，所以我也要讲一下，我很感恩。然后还有就是剩下来，我们如果有还有 balance 的钱呢，我们会 donate 回去我们的 future retreat， 就是 coming retreat。
可以 ，Sadhu very good， spiritual trip， for your future spiritual trip，
对，就是这样子。还有就是 他们在我们8个人还没有 almost end 的时候，我们的嘎拉米达请我跟阿宋吃了一餐很丰盛的。
哇，萨德萨德。
对，他们很 surprise 的，我们就今晚上我们请你们吃，我们讲哈，然后我就很你的 rejoice 咯，去接受他们的这个答案是。然后 coming back， 其实我们整个 trip planning， 我们就是注重在九华山。对我来讲，对九华山，我其实不是很熟悉 ，Bradio， 因为我只去了1个晚上。一个晚上，一个早上，I mean 一个 full day 这样子，所以我们也不是很熟。但是我有做了一点功课，我知道九华山大概是这样子走。但是那个到南京那边其实南京我要talk about南京这个这个就是我们只知道要去牛首山，这个佛陀的舍利在那边，然后之后就是去附近的这样子走走，然后我们就想着，如果我们在九华山出来太累的话，我们就 echo and slow 走走这样子 ，you know， 就是 you know 就是 training 我们的 mindfulness 罢了。
对。
我们整个主要的就是因为我们走的时候，我们就是去这样 away 还是吃饭就是做这种东西罢了嘛。所以我们没有说很要求的说我们在南京到底要做什么。
对，
但是 it turns out to be so beautiful because 那个 driver， 我要讲我那个 driver 的
那个 driver 你们的
非常好非常好，他很细心也很贴心，他就跟我们说，起初他是跟我们说，你来南京4天没什么干
对，
没有什么东西看，然后他就介绍我们说，要不然这样，然后他就介绍我们去附近的，就说比如说那些 temple，结果我们就是整个4天在这个南京，我们就是也是去 temple visit。
哇，萨德，
就这个是我们的，就是阿松讲的，这个是我们的 bonus 来的。对，所以
meant to be will be.
So
it's just like the Qingdao tree is not a spiritual mountain. It's not a spiritual tree. But when we went there, we were very surprised. The 2 or 3 temples that we went to, that is the only few temples there, and they happen to be very good temple. And what they suggest and together we that formulated the visit. When I was there, they were really beautiful. The tree, the nature, the formation, and how they built the temple, very well built. Means the abbot that founded the place, or the founder, and those who helped develop and build that place or temple, they are really sincere with faith and have good Dhamma understanding. That's why they turn out very beautiful. And when you have the causes and conditions, no matter where you go, it may appear like we call it like you call it like normally people go for overseas trip. It's like tour, go for tour, more towards the tour. And they just want to go and visit places and experience all those maybe foreign things. But like I said, it turned out to be different. Because it turned out to be not only developing the understanding and able to visit all those spiritual places that it's meant to be, but also the tour visit, the history behind it, the historical thing and all those things. Even at Qingdao, we develop a lot of understanding. Of course, the most important is the Dhamma and the food. The food is very good. The hotel was very good. And like you all experience also, everything is like fall into place. More or less like echo and flow. Then when I was there, I know where to go and I know where to visit. Then I take them along. Then in between we explain a lot of things to them. That's why with the Dhamma understanding, everything will fall into place. The weather was very conducive, and it's like everything is meant to be. Like we are very well protected, guided and blessed. Then many of those so-called like tour during that visit turn out to be spiritual, meaningful, and we also have some session together. I think 2 or 3, I forgot already. Then, of course, during those sharing after the dinner, it's only meant for those who have the understanding. They will benefit more. Because the one that join our group, not everybody is from our Kayamita. I think about 4 of them are not from our Kayamita. But they fit in very well. They are very happy because they see our group very different. Then even one of our Kayamita, that KK Yip, KK from Penang, I think. He was very happy, He said, "Wow, brother, surprised that that's the first spiritual trip he followed me." He said, he has never gone to a spiritual trip that has so many temple visits, but to him it's already a lot of temple visits. And he said he has never had such good food, good hotel, and joy in such trip. Their normal trip is so different, is it? Ours on is a lot of harmony. Then everybody can click together. Where it's a small group, I think, about 16 of us or what. Then together, of course, about 17. So total, we have 2 tables actually. Just nice. Then we exchange sitting sometimes. Then they all can really communicate and develop the harmony, the joy. So all this is what you can understand. Then for us, Kayamita, we develop the daily mindfulness and our nature different. But we can blend in. Like when they discuss things or what, we can be like normal, worldly too. It's just like the suchness seeing. Because there is a old uncle, I think, Uncle, he's about 80 years old. He is very cute, he's very knowledgeable also in his own career and all those things. So we really enjoy his company too, and he likes us a lot. And he keep on inviting us. You all come to Mua, you must come and see me and all those things. So all those were the beautiful happenings. And there was a lot of harmony, a lot of understanding and joy. And everybody was so helpful to each other. And things just work out beautifully, like it's meant to be. Yeah, I better let you continue, Alicia. Yeah.
Yeah, Brother 其实起初因为我已经在 China 走惯了，所以我觉得搭车啊什么不是一个很难的东西。Initially 我们是没有 plan 去租车的，但是后来等到我差不多有1个多月前要出发前，忽然我就想着，不是我，那你要想一下别人的体能不能？
对，
就这样子，所以就把它改成租车，然后也把它 cost 全部算了出来，一个人多几十块，那要不然就这样子做这样子，但是就那么巧遇到Freddy 的 cousin 刚刚 call 我就随便的问了他一下，你有没有朋友在南京呀？他讲有啊，然后这样子，所以这个助缘是帮了我很多 brother。
对，
因为他还交代了他们那一边， 他说你 make sure 帮我这班人要把它弄到很舒服，就是很
哇，Sadhu，
you know， 哇，
怪不得他带你们去吃啊，去 visit 那个地方啊，他做得很好啊，
对，而且他本来是告诉我是给我12个人坐的车的，
对
，12个人就是说我们8个人有4个位置来放啦，
对，
但是他开来的车是第一辆是19个人，然后第二辆就21个人的，
哇，很舒服，是啊，
很舒服，所以这个助缘我是感觉到要很感恩他们，不然我们也没有因为我们如果去搭车的话，拿着那个行李，就好像
不容易哦，
要避免这些一切的这些的发生，还是
对，
花太多，就是说我们也不是说 cannot afford， 所以就改成租车，然后而且非常方便，因为他这个 driver 很 experience。
it turned out to be a blessing in this guy。
就是我真的是很感恩他，老实讲。所以我就讲，借着这个机会这样子，所以这些都是助缘，所以我觉得，这个很重要，我们要有感恩的心的去感恩他们。
对。That's why from all this experience you learn. That's why when we were in Switzerland, you remember, I say when we go back, we better hire a van, pay more because not a problem. Most of us can afford, even if they cannot afford. We can also bear the cost, because to go back on that day, if you don't have a proper transport, it is very dangerous where we don't know that place, and there are so many airports. Then the train stop where and all those things are not easy. That's why finally you managed to get a van, and we were so lucky. It was a blessing. Actually, 14 to 15 days we were there. Every day the weather was beautiful. Of course there is certain day light drizzling and all that. But on the last day, the day before we take the flight, that morning, you remember, it rained. Luckily we got the transport. And all the way to the airport, it was raining. Then because we have the transport, we don't have to worry. Then when we about to reach the transport, then I only realized the danger. The driver asks you, remember, which terminal? Luckily you check the ticket, then you tell him terminal 2 or 1, I forgot already. Then we went to the correct terminal, because it seems according to him there are many terminals there. So for us, the international flight to certain country, it is already specified which terminal. So for you all also, it's a blessing. That's why when you can have all this understanding, then when you plan even future spiritual trip, it will be even more beautiful with the understanding. And this one, although it's the first time you all go on your own, and you plan all this yourself, is considered a very, very successful trip and very, I should say, meant to be type of trip. Because without having proper people organizing it for us, that's why, because we have Mr. I normally prefer him to develop the contact, all those things. But for you all, small group, it's okay. Just like we went to New Zealand, it's just nice. Then all this, I think, is very useful experience and understanding. In fact, I was told by Sui, all the young people, they travel now, they don't even hire any local agent or foreign tour agent. They just go on their own, they travel. Like she and Ben, the family, they went to Japan or whatever. They go on their own. They buy the ticket, everything, hire the transport, they move on their own. So we have to develop some form of understanding. But for us, we are at the phase where we all are more elderly. I think we have to consider to have certain type of arrangement that will reduce our burden of hauling the luggage and walking too much distance and all those things. So all these are useful. As I sure you also know, when I went with her to Paris, London, that time we booked the private tour, no? Just for 4 of us, sometimes 6, sometimes 8. It is a very convenient and nice. Then they got a local guy inside there from Paris. So all this, where she know how to check the rating and all those things, the internet, those who went before. So all this enable her to actually help me to book all those tours, and I find that it's very good and very useful, private tour. But for my case, that time I also learned. I booked all the flight ticket, all the hotel, everything. That time I also not sure because I'm not an IT guy. I'm not young at that time. But I know of one tour agency IT, a very famous one in KL. So I went there and do the booking, and they do it very well. That's why the combination of all this turned out to be meant to be. So all these are beautiful experience. Yeah, you continue, Alicia.
Yeah, but you actually 南京哦，我们去的地方哦，好像南京，其实我们只是 plan 去那个佛顶宫去看那个佛舍利，还有就是一个鸡鸣寺，也是当地比较有历史性的那种 temple 哦。
对。
但是我们也去了一个叫西霞寺啊，还有真讲的那个定慧寺和金沙寺，我们投的。All in， 我那天听他送 record 有16个 temple，
对，
所以这一些都是来，比如说西霞寺，它是距离在南京出去不远，大概20公里，而且它的 history 很怎样讲啊，就是1800年还是什么，它的
they are very ancient
yes
history behind, and they have what they call there is very rich in their culture, their history, and all these things. So when you visit those places, it's like you feel very good and meant to be. It's just like our Qingdao. We went to the Kongzi's birthplace, and the place he became very famous. Then the emperor, I think, rewarded him and all those things. We visited all those places, and those who were with us, especially the Singaporean who know Mandarin, they were very happy with the way the guy who knows a lot of this very rich history behind, and it turned out to be very beautiful. Yeah, you continue.
Yeah, 因为这个西霞寺，当我们走在它的那个这个比如说它竹林还是哪里啊，好像 Cindy 讲的，真的那种感觉就好像在仙境里面，非常非常。对，其实这几个就是我们就是意外收获啦。我教就是其实不在 itinerary 的，全部都是临时，就是阿松说，我们应该去了哈，这个因为它。非常的有意思，这样子，就是 coming back， 就是佛顶宫，就是那个重点，就是在那个佛塔那个舍利那边，有那个他们耗40亿的去建这个佛顶宫，它里面的所有的怎么说，它的就说它的所有的很怎么样讲，那个画就很像来，你一看到你说。哇，这样子，
很
壮观，很非常的，所以有机会我也想请 Brad 去走走这个南京的这个佛顶宫啊，还是南京走哈，还有
南京很久我没有去过了。
对，
我的 last trip was I remember 1999 when I was in Shanghai, and we visited this. Nanjing, but when we were there at that time, it's only the history of the Japanese war. Like what your guide told you is true. In Nanjing, actually, you don't need to spend so many days. In one day or what, you finish everything. Well, main itinerary is they call it the Nanking War and all those things. So they got a lot of the history, the record and all those things. Of course, you see a lot of the reminiscence of what happened at that time. So all those they are there, but I don't have much impression of what Nanjing is apart from the historical aspect, which I think that time China not developed yet. So they also like that memory was there. But by now I believe it's very different already, because it's 20 over years already, 1999, 26 years already. Yeah, you've got condition. You try to organize, then I may go. Yeah.
Radio 就是 coming back to 这个 trip 的一些反省，我叫反省的 contemplation。其实我一到池州不远，我就已经可以 feel 到那个它的 energy 了。
哦，very strong 啊！
很，因为池州再要过去九华，大概也是有整几十公里的 actually。但是这个就是来，我以前我不知道什么是这种东西，我也不懂，但是上一次从五台山回来开始，就慢慢我会觉得
你开始会了解了的，那你的nature里面知道了，它会 detect 了 ，and you know it's meant to be and it's something is already meant to be， that's why 你会到那边，
对 ，actually，地藏王菩萨的 mantra 一直都在。
哇，萨度，
就是那几天，比那几天还到南京，它是还是在。所以但是就好像radio 有时候我们晚上睡觉，好像就哇整身发抖这样，你知道那
对 ，vibrating，
厉害了哦，太厉害了，对，这样子。
很强啊，它的 nature 的
energy。Yes, very strong.
You just relax into it.
Especially 我去到那个小天台的时候，我去到那个 temple， 哇，它整身 vibrate，and then 那个 mantra 很 strong 的，
very strong 然
后我就
it will develop the movement and the I call it the activation and the opening of those area within your heart and nature there. Wherever is needed for them to activate, they will activate for you. Yeah, very good. You continue.
然后我就我也不懂怎么办了，我就坐下去 meditate 了。
哇，萨度。
despite 那地上很冷，但是我也不懂怎么办。
没问题的。
我就坐下去就 meditate 了。After that， 大概有一下这样，我就讲，你还有 duty 的哦，然后我就快点起来去 lead 他们这样子。其实这一切的 experience 只是一个过程。就 actually， 其实我们到九华山怎么走我们是跟着那个 condition 到哪里这样子，其实也没有说一个 fix 的怎样，就好像阿松那天 report 他早上去那个右边的 temple， 左我就跑去右边的 temple， 我们两个 compliment 咯，到最后带他们去了那个 temple， 又过去另外一个就说奇缘。去奇缘过来，我们去若神宝殿，然后回来我们又在下午就去右边那个赞坛岭那边，那边有一个很 huge 心里讲的很大的那个地藏王菩萨的 statue。其实 radio 我在这个过程里面我有很多的感恩，因为我感恩地藏王菩萨给予我的所有的扶持，还有教导，还有。
Also, your affinity with that great being, you have great affinity, and a lot of you who went on that trip have established a lot of affinity with that Earth Star Bodhisattva's nature, which is very good and meant to be. And some of them have actually cultivated some form of affinity with him before. Otherwise, they won't end up there. Just like Cindy, not supposed to go, but end up there because Chin Hao cannot make it because of some family thing or what. So all these are like meant to be, will be. Just like I said, how nature's conditioning and movement is very amazing. Sometimes you can never believe that it can happen. That's why meant to be will be. Condition like that, things will be like that. And it will create the yin yang power. When you have the affinity, the constant condition, then when you are sincere, then things will happen on. The Devas, the Dhamma protector, the nature's being, the great being's nature, they will help create causes and conditions. And somehow you all will organize the trip and go. And when you are there, everything also will fall into place based on causes and conditions, and you will happen to know what to do and visit the places that you're supposed to visit and meant to be. But a lot of these are mutual. Before you go, actually, they are there rejoicing already. They also know what is pending and going to happen. And especially our Kayamita spiritual trip, when I take the group over, my nature would know actually. Like I explained to you last time, before I go, I knew that a sign to go. Then normally, on that day, when I am there, then only I start to see more causes and conditions. Then later on, after the trip, then I know why it's like that, it's meant to be. And in between, the thing that manifests also very strange. And it's like, even allow you to have the freedom to do your own planning. You cannot plan it so well. Like the Utai San one, you remember the first day it rained, then we cannot go up the mountain. So it meant to be change your program. And the Taoyu came and said, I said, no problem, accord and flow. Then we shift the program and visited the lower area where the Kuan Yin temple supposed to visit on the last day or whatever. We shift it and change it. Then that day is like meant to be, because down there, the heavenly rhyme, the mist, the slight drizzle, the what they call places where we visit, turn out to be beautiful, meant to be. And one of the temple, I think the abbot, somehow he sensed it and he heard the thing. Then he came out until he was so surprised. Then he talked to us. Then he invited us to actually visit him and took us around. And it was really meant to be. Initially, the nun say you all cannot go in. But then when he came, he said, can. Then he took us around. And he actually explained to us many things. Because all these are like meant to be, will be. So you can see the sign, the manifestation. And after the trip, you learn, you develop the understanding. That's why the Dhamma within your nature that has the understanding will understand what is accord and flow with whatever appropriate sign that manifests. That's why you are not rigid in that sense. And when you accord and flow, the good thing is you don't resist, no negativity or mind state. You just move accordingly. That's why all these are like Dhamma. You accord and flow means you don't resist, you don't get angry, you don't get unhappy. You rejoice. And you just develop the understanding and flow. Main understanding is how to resolve things amicably and what is best for the Kayamitas. When you are very sincere, wholesome, and without negativity, then the Dhamma will accord, flow, and develop the best outcome. And all these are very beautiful. Wow, how? You continue, Alicia. Yeah.
Yeah， 其实 Bradley 这一次，我有点惭愧 Bradley 其实，为什么？因为在某一个方面，我很想他们 benefit 嘛。就有一点点的，就好像你要好，你要好的话，一定是有不好的东西会。然后你偶尔你会觉得，哎，就好像
That is how you learn. But the Dhamma is like that one. 你不要去 like worry. What I use the word is worry means 你要他们好嘛。So behind it 是有一点点 like make you try your very best to bring out the best outcome for them. And that itself is also a subtle craving that actually prevent you from developing the full understanding of accord and flow. So just let things be, and everything will flow in accordance with causes and conditions. Then when you are sincere, when you really have the Dhamma understanding, then everything will fall into place. Then it will turn out to be a blessing in disguise. When nature's condition is like that, wholesomeness beget wholesomeness. Delusion, negativity of mind state will condition negativity of outcome. So all this, you will develop the understanding. That's why I say, 没事没事. 没事 means don't have to carry all this thing around. Just accord and flow, let things be. 好啊，这一次 at least you can see that.
对，我看到我自己的那个傲慢，还有那个所谓的 delusion 啊，还有那个执着，我都看到。
对。
所以对我来讲，这个是我去九华山最大的收获。对，所以其他的都不是什么的，这只是。
Yeah, because you are still new in organizing all this. That's why this is what cultivation is all about. 它会让你看到的。That's why 我说 when you come out to do all this sharing and organize all this and do all this work, that's how you learn actually. When I share, I develop a lot of understanding on my side too, because from what I share and I saw the outcome and how people progress and develop the understanding, I also learn because the way they are is different, their nature different, how they come, how they receive, and how they go through the karmic process and transformation to develop the progress. Everyone is different. That's why it's through all this that my nature will understand a lot more. That's why I use the word, this Bodhisattva way is very rewarding in that sense. The longer you cultivate and go through this Bodhisattva way, it gives rise to a lot of understanding and wisdom. I used to say this word is very, very extensive in its scope and coverage of the cultivation. Where every segmented life we come, we don't have much time to do all this, but every all this it come, like this segment of my nature's life, I develop a lot of this understanding because my nature has the understanding to see all this. That's why I want to transmit whatever my nature can transmit this life to fulfill what I agree to do for the Maitreya Buddha. When the nature requests me to share the true Dhamma, and the meaning is very deep, not only the teaching, but more of the Bodhisattva way, which is very unique. By nature has that unique way that can help many cultivators. And because of that, all this understanding arise, evolve, and our website will record a lot of all this. That's why all this type of sharing will benefit a lot of future cultivator all the way and practitioner all the way, even Dhamma friends who are progressing very well. And in years to come, a lot of things will happen. And your understanding will evolve and develop until very sophisticated and more extensively than like I used to share with Pamasri and you all. When the time comes, maybe a few more years from now, where we all can sit down and share the understanding in a very beautiful way, which normal people cannot understand or appreciate or comprehend. But we all can, and we can evolve that understanding and sharing, which is, I think, never happened before. And all this can be really beautiful and meant to be. Okay, Alicia, back to you. Very good, Sadhu.
Brother Dio， 其实，当你在那个处在那边哦，你真的是跳不出来的时候，你会很沮丧。但是你回来，你就觉得，哎，人家每一个都在 training， 都是男性也得是。
对。
所以我回来之后，我还有经过一个 test， 那个 test 哦也是有一段很长一下，不然就我这2个星期这个 test 让我怎么说看到另外一个，就看到这个就是说来那个 suddenly 在那个这一 part 我觉得我 next week Tuesday class 我才 share， 因为
可以
因为挺长的，因为是这个什么药师佛的 guidance 来的，
哇，Sadhu，哇，
所以这个我 next week 才 share，
可以，Sadhu。
所以我顺便讲一下这个牛首山的这个佛顶里面的那个舍利那边。PG 不是说他一进去他就 feel 到哇那个
energy very strong。
so 我一进去我就哇，我的汗那边就开始我要哭了，为什么这样的？我就打一个圈，哎，不行了，然后我就跑去绕佛。
Sadhu。
佛，绕了佛之后呢，我就跑去一个旁边这样子静静待在那边，因为给卡拉米达去silently feel the whole environment 嘛，所以我也站在那边。哇 ，after a while 哇，很满了，不然就太满了。然后我就开始 feel 到我的手好像要 move， 要有一个 mudra 出来这样子。
哇，
然后我就跑去那个 go nearer to 那个舍利塔那边，然后我就 pay respect， pay 了3次，然后我就走出来，然后他就 suddenly 就 manifest 那个 Buddha birth 出家，然后怎么说那个enlighten，
the tri-sacred occasion of Vesak，
这样子出来哦，哇，然后我就不行了 ，hold 不住，那感恩的心就跑出来，就一直哭，然后那个 energy 我就就是 as usual， 我就跑去抱他们。把那个 energy transfer 给他们 transfer， 然后我就整个人好像一下子沉淀下来，整个人变了很轻易、很凉快这样子。
Sadhu，very good，
就是我在牛首山的一个小小的 experience。
Sadhu。
我知道，哎呀。
That's why the affinity it will manifest and show it to you, and then it's like meant to be. That's why it will happen. All this is what the Dhamma understanding and conditioning, and when they manifest, it's very beautiful. That's why I always say, whatever that is meant to be, will be. And all these are due to past causes and conditions. And when there are causes and conditions, things will manifest, will happen. So these are beautiful sharing. Sadhu.
就这个真的是，这一次让我看到很多东西，也学到很多东西。我也代表我们几个一起去的人感恩，真的很感恩。因为这一切，得来不易，我真的觉得得来
不易。
它里面真的是太多的 太多的法可以去管它。
对对。
因为比如我们吃饭啊、走路啊，这些都是法。因
对。
为这一切，我太多的感恩。而且 whatever happen 啊，就是让我们学习的。我 I put it this way。
对
让
，and
我
let you all develop the understanding and the faith, so that you can continue to move forward faster and faster.
Yeah, so brother，时间就到了
，OK，
就share到这里，然后我 continue next session。
可以，next
阿弥
Tuesday。
陀佛。
阿弥陀佛，Let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, very good sharing. Rejoice. Let us now share merit and transfer merit. Akasata cha bhumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasana ita wata camehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Devo vasadukalena sasa sampati hetu cha fito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, now you can pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.